Welcome back to a little bit of cheese, your daily bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. I'm your host, Cody Depius, and I thank you for being here with us on Friday, October 25th, 2024. There's way too much going on this weekend, but it's going to be a blast, and we'll try to get you all set for all the great games that are about to come up. So we'll look at the slate as a whole tonight, where we start. You have Bulls at Bucks, 7 p.m. You have World Series Game 1, Yankees at the Dodgers. That'll be a 7:08 p.m. first pitch. You can watch both of those at the same time. You can double screen. But if you're really involved in all of it, you can double screen from the comfort of a nice aluminum bleacher set, as it is round one of the Wisconsin high school football playoffs as well tonight. My brother will be playing at Alaska, very close to where I live, so I'll be watching that game tonight. And that is just tonight. And then, of course, tomorrow night you have the primetime matchup. Penn State at Wisconsin. The Badgers are going to look for that first big victory in the Luke Fickell era. And then on Sunday, you have Packers at Jacksonville. So you got a full slate of games. Whatever you want to watch, you're going to be able to watch it this weekend. We'll start off at the top. Packers at Jags. That's the one I like to talk about first because, of course, most of us here are all Packers fans. I mean, a little bit of cheese. We're all cheeseheads. That's how we do it. But I have three keys to the game for how the Packers keep this rolling and possibly make their way up to 6-2 against a Jacksonville team that is 2-5 right now. Things have not looked good so far. I think when we'll look at this team from the outsides, they have a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence who is getting paid a similar amount as to what Jordan Love is getting paid. He was one of those guys that kind of set the table for how much the quarterback market has been inflated in free agency. He's their quarterback. He's underperformed, really, for what he's being paid. I've seen a lot better things out of Jordan Love so far in his young career than I have Trevor Lawrence, but a very talented guy. He was a number one overall pick out of Clemson, was one of the best QB prospects that we've ever seen. Of course, you get one of those every year, but the year he was drafted, he was that guy. He was the greatest quarterback prospect that we'd seen since Peyton Manning, is what they call him. And or Andrew Luck or whatever it may be. He was a national champion, Heisman, like all the accolades. He's supposed to be the golden boy. Has underperformed, really, in Jacksonville for the kind of expectations that had been set for him. I think he's a good, average, solid quarterback. I don't think he's that much of a difference maker. I think he's someone that if you put a good team around him, the team can be successful. I don't think he's a bad quarterback that's really too much of a detriment to a team, but he needs weapons. He's not one of those guys like Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers that can play without the talent around them and still propel their team to wins. He's just not that guy, and that's okay. But that's they have at quarterback. Travis Etienne was another higher draft pick as a running back for Jacksonville. Has not played that well this year, as they have a rookie running back named Tank Bigsby, who has been very solid. Those are two of the stars on offense, another rookie wide receiver, Chewbacca, sorry. Uh, but a rookie wide receiver in Brian Thomas out of LSU. He's been a superstar. He'll probably be a Pro Bowler this year. So those are the three catalysts on offense. You have Evan Ingram at tight end, very solid as well. An average to below average offensive line for Jacksonville. And on defense, they have a pass rush, but their secondary is not that great. And I think Jordan Love would be able to expose it. So at the top, key number one for the Packers to go out and win this game would be stop the pass rush. As Josh Allen Hines on that defensive front, that's really the anchor for their defense, is they're able to get after the quarterback. So this is going to be a big test for Zach Tom and Rasheed Walker, who they've played pretty solid so far this year. They're going to have to continue to do so to give Jordan Love time, as that's Jacksonville's strength. If they can't blitz the quarterback, they're going to have a rough day on defense. So if the offensive line can continue to produce the way that they have, because to be, in all honesty, this offensive line is one of the biggest reasons that Green Bay has been successful so far. Jordan Love has been able to go out there and he felt comfortable to play after just missing 2 games. Because they knew the offensive line would be able to protect him to a point where Jordan Love wouldn't be risking further injury. That was one of the big reasons, and one of the big reasons as to why they've continued to win. At least in the pass rush, they've been able to pass defend very well, uh, or defend against the pass rush very well. But running game hasn't been great, at least when Josh Jacobs has been in there. Whenever Emmanuel Wilson has stepped in, they've looked solid. But overall, the line has played very well. They're going to look to continue to do so. That's key number one, is stopping the pass rush. Key number two, I have the run defense trying to stop Tank Bigsby. And I look back to that game against Houston last week, the only thing that Houston was able to do on offense was give the ball to Joe Mixon. That's how they scored the touchdown. Of course, that's how Mixon tried to Lambeau leap and then was shoved back down to the field by that awesome fan. Wow, that guy's really cool. Like, no sarcasm there. That was kind of awesome. I was hoping that the fans would try to shove him back out, because opposing players should not really be Lambeau leaping in opposing stadiums. That's just my opinion, especially not in Green Bay. Don't touch the stands in Green Bay if you're an opposing player. That's just not what you do. And Joe Mixon was taught that. But back to the point, Joe Mixon had a very good day in the run game for Houston. Green Bay's defense has shown to struggle there at times. And I think Tank Bigsby is the one that's going to be able to open things up for Jacksonville, if anybody. So Green Bay, who might be without Quay Walker due to concussion, they're going to rely on your Isaiah McDuffie, your Eric Wilson, your Edgerrin Cooper. Like, those guys are going to have pretty solid games. And then up front, Kenny Clark and the rest of the defensive front, they're going to have to really shore up in the run game. So if they can stop Tank Bigsby, who has looked very good and better, honestly, as weeks have gone on here, if Green Bay is able to stop him, then they can essentially stop the Jacksonville Jaguars offense, I think, as well. I'm not too concerned with Jacksonville's passing game, because Green Bay has looked so good in pass defense. Xavier McKinney, he hasn't had 2 interceptions. Well, the last 2 games, he hasn't had an interception, which is, it would be like not even a talking point unless he had 5 straight games with an interception leading up to that for this season. And that's been the case so far. So we look at that and we're like, oh, Xavier McKinney hasn't had interceptions in the last 2 games. It's because they're not throwing the ball his way very smartly. They're going to try to take the top off. I bet they take a couple of shots down the field this week, and McKinney might have another opportunity here and there. And Evan Williams, I can keep praising him, as he's one that's really going to help in the run game as well. The safeties have played so well. The covered corners, that might be a topic that we talk a little bit about. Maybe Green Bay wants to improve when it gets after what Jair Alexander has been able to do. He's played very well when he's been healthy. That number 2 covered corner, it's been a little bit of a question mark, but I think they're going to be able to hold it down enough where Jacksonville's pass game isn't going to be too much of a concern in the conclusion of this game. So point number 2 was to stop the run defense. Well, stop the run against Tank Bigsby, the running back for Jacksonville. Point number 3 is special teams. Shore things up. They've been really sloppy. I personally don't think this game is going to be all that close. I think Green Bay should walk in and handle Jacksonville pretty easily. That's where I think of this personally. And when it comes to that, you try to fix a little bit of the small things that are going on right now. It's been a lot of special teams. You've had bad snaps, you've had bad coverages, you've had muff punts, you've had just a lot of sloppy things happen on defense. Shore that up, make your kicks, return your punts, return your kicks, and have good coverage. And then we don't even have to have this conversation. We really shouldn't. But that's one thing that this team needs to improve. And I'm going to put that as key number 3, is start to improve that, because we do not want this to continue to be a conversation as the season moves along. So stopping the pass rush, the run defense against Tank, and the special teams, shoring it up. Those are the 3 keys. Packers at Jacksonville on Sunday. I have 2 keys for Badgers at home against Penn State for the primetime game on Saturday. Number 1, take care of the ball. Braden Locke has played really well these last couple of weeks, but he's still had the interceptions. He's still had those silly throws that even could have been picked off but weren't. When you're playing a top 4 team in college football, you need to take care of the ball, especially as an unranked opponent. I don't think there's going to be that many opportunities for Wisconsin to score this weekend. I'm going to be completely honest. I think taking care of the ball is going to be the most important thing, because you cannot give Penn State a short field. that just allows them an easier chance to score. And the defense has been playing very well for Wisconsin as of recent, and you can only help them out that much more by taking care of the ball. Braden Locke, keep the throws smart. Don't try to force anything too much. Try to rely on your run game and see if anything opens up, but don't be too aggressive against a team that is right now at this point just flat out better than you. So you need to play like that, and you can't be giving them anything. You can't give them any cookies. They don't need any cookies. You need cookies. So take care of your cookies. Don't give them away. So taking care of the ball, of course, is point number one. Point number two here, continue this lights out defense. I think if Wisconsin wins, I don't think Penn State can score more than 17 points. That's where I'm at with this game. I don't see Wisconsin's offense really lighting it up. I just don't. It hasn't happened so far in the Fickle era, where in a big game the offense really shows up and shows out and just outscores the other opponent. It doesn't happen. That's just not. I don't expect it, and I'm not going to. So, on top of taking care of the ball when you're on offense, you have to stay aggressive on defense. You cannot allow anything over 17 points. I think that's kind of the line that I'm setting it at. If you can hold Penn State to 17 points, I think that's the only way that you have a chance to win this game. That's where I stand personally. The defense has played great these last 3 weeks. If they continue that, they have the chance. So it's very simple points here for Badgers and Penn State. I think Penn State is vulnerable. I don't know if Wisconsin has as much of a 40% chance to win as Sam predicted earlier this week, but I do think that there's a solid chance, and that is because of how good the defense has played the last couple of weeks. And Braden Locke has impressed me. I just want to see him take care of the ball just a little bit more. But that's probably the most excited I'm going to be for a Badger game in a pretty long time, and I think they have an opportunity to do something pretty cool. Uh, so then, of course, we talked about it before tonight. You got 3 big events, or if you look at the state of Wisconsin, hundreds of big events. But Bulls at Bucks tonight, 7 p.m. Bucks, no reason they shouldn't win their home opener there. Not much to put about it. Dame and Giannis have looked great. Taurean Prince, Gary Trent Jr., all the new guys played well last game. I don't expect anything different playing against a team that just isn't as good as them. So Milwaukee opening up the eyes nationally, apparently, once again. You saw Stephen A. Smith make a big announcement that Milwaukee has the opportunity to maybe go to the finals. And it's like, yeah, we know they have two of the best players on the entire planet. Of course, they have an opportunity to go to the finals. So we know where this team is, and you just expect them every single night they could go out there and win the game. That's how good this team is. That's what we're going to expect. And they looked solid last week. So, last game. So we'll see how things continue tonight against the Bulls. I'm not going to be watching that game because, of course, high school football playoffs, they start tonight. And then World Series Game 1 as well, 7:08 p.m. first pitch. The heavyweight matchup here for World Series matchups. You got Yankees, Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge. All the lights are going to be shining. This is going to be a really fun series. In my prediction, I have the Yankees taking it in 7. And then that's surely because of past history. I know Sam and I kind of talked about it before, but Yankees, they have 27 World Series rings in the history of Major League Baseball, and they haven't had one since 2009, where the Dodgers, they got their, what people call a Mickey Mouse ring back in 2020. They're trying to legitimize that ring by winning this year. But I just think the pendulum swings back and the Yankees get their 28th World Championship. So, whole lot of stuff going on this weekend. I want to thank you for being here with me today. Kind of giving my picks, my thoughts, and I will put my predictions out. Of course, I said I have the Yankees winning the series where it's at. I have the Bucks winning tonight. The Badgers, I see losing by 1 possession against Penn State. I think it'll be a solid game, but I think it'll just come down to not having the explosive playmaking on offense, I think, is what it's going to be, and the lack thereof for Wisconsin, and that being the reason why they can't beat Penn State. But I do think they start to open up a couple of eyes after this weekend. And then I have Green Bay beating Jacksonville by over 10 points. I think that there's no reason that Green Bay shouldn't go into Jacksonville and kind of just give them the business. I think that this is a much better team that's gained a lot of momentum. I think there's a lot of disarray going on right now in Jacksonville. So, my name is Cody Depius. I'm your host. I want to thank you for being here with us once again this week. We will be back on Monday. Sam will be here. We'll go over all the fun stuff and we'll get you prepped for next week as well. So, we'll be back on Monday with another edition of A Little Bit of Cheese, your daily bite sized Wisconsin sports podcast.